friends, it's Ashlyn, and in this video we're going to do a 12-month recap of all the projects I've sold in 2025. I'll let you know how long they took to sell here in the Pacific Northwest of the United States, how much they sold for, and because over here we're an honest and transparent channel, I'm going to also share what I felt they should have actually gone for. So let's get into the video. First up is this 1940s dresser, and I loved this piece. I ended up getting it for free. The family wanted to let it go after there'd been a loss of their mother, and I was happy to take it off their hands. There wasn't a lot of structural damage on this one, so that's always a great place to start. And for it being 80 years old, I think that's pretty impressive. But the finish was absolutely, it had failed everywhere. The most time-consuming part of this project was getting it down to the raw wood. Despite the finish having failed, there was a lot of little intricate spots that need to go in and sand and detail, and that took a lot of time. The whole project really started to come together after getting 2 coats of gel stain on there. First coat was Coffee by Minwax, and the second was Red Mahogany by Varathane. Just a couple quick color match touch-ups, and this piece was good to go. Every once in a while, there'll be a project that I wish I wouldn't have accepted an offer for, and this is unfortunately one of those cases. I was asking $400, but I accepted $350, and I really wish that I wouldn't have. I think if I would have held out a little longer, I would have gotten more for it. Next up was this surprise Stickley coffee table. This table was fresh from the farm. They literally pulled it out of their grandmother's barn to sell it. And I didn't end up paying anything for it. They were ready to let it go, and I was pumped to have it. I got the chance to try out my new carbide scraper, which worked amazing, except it makes a terrible, horrible, awful sound. So if you're sensitive to noises, this may not be the tool for you, but it is shockingly effective. A few coats of stain after, and this was ready to find its new home. Coffee tables don't always sell very quickly around here, but this one sold in under 24 hours. This is another one, hindsight, I wish I would have asked more for, maybe $300 or $350, which is probably why it sold so quickly, but I did end up selling it for $250. Oh, this sweet farmhouse decor Depression era dresser. I liked it so much, but oh my gosh, I've never used so much chemical stripper in all of my life. This piece helped me set a new record of 7 layers of paint over the 100 years it'd been around, and it also ended up being lead paint, so there's that as well. I spent a grand total of 25 hours stripping paint, scraping paint, picking paint off of this poor old dresser, all to throw in the towel and end up painting the body in some of the drawers myself. You win some, you lose some, but you always learn a lot. This poor dresser went through so much, and then it just sat on the market for 4 months. Then literally the weekend I was going to repaint it, someone asked if they could come pick it up. Starting price was $400, but I did eventually go down to $200, and that's just kind of the furniture flipping game. I was just sure that this little MCM end table was going to be a sweep. Clean it up, put some restore finish on it, and sell it for triple the price. But instead I grabbed the wrong chemical and accidentally stripped the whole entire piece. So that was a lot of fun. But I did get to add some metaphorical and literal new tools to my toolbox, so that's always a good time. I did 2 layers of my favorite mid-century modern walnut gel stain and several layers of wipe-on polyurethane on the entire piece, just in case, because end tables get so much wear and tear, and added it to the market. I listed this for $200, and it sat on the market. I think it ended up being on Marketplace for about a month and a half, and then I did sell it for $120. Going out and meeting the people that you're buying and selling from is one of my favorite parts of this job. And that was absolutely the case with this 1920s or 30s dresser. The previous owner told me that she refinished it with her grandfather for her babies. And fortunately, her babies grew up and they didn't need this dresser in the nursery anymore. So I took it. I took everything down with a chemical stripper and then stained it with my favorite gel stain, but the vertical parts of the dresser could not or would not match with the horizontal pieces. And so I got to play around with some toner, which was so much fun. Then it was onto the drawers, which is always a fun little adventure, especially if they've been previously lined. I used an excessive amount of wood glue to glue these drawer corners back together, clamped them overnight, and then it was done and ready for the market. You know, it's always a sign when you get like 10 or 15 legit post responses in the matter of like an hour that you probably priced a piece too low. Well, that's exactly what happened here. So I asked $350, I got $350, but I think I probably should have asked closer to $500. This little piece was so much fun to do. It was just a sweet little country pine corner hutch that had some pretty curious and debatably unsanitary stains on it. It was just raw pine, so I didn't really have to do anything except even it out a little bit with the sander, and then I made some custom paint, sealed it in polyacrylic, and it was good to go. I think this little custom piece turned out so sweet, and the customer absolutely loved it and was going to work great for a little coffee bar for the corner of their dining room. If only all pieces were this simple. Oh well, on to the next one. I absolutely picked this little end table up off the side of the road. It was nothing fancy, just a single end table that you'd get at like IKEA or Walmart, but I knew that it would make a quick flip and just get a little cash in pocket, which sometimes you just need. I sanded the top down so it looked like raw wood, even though it was just pressboard. Then painted the rest of the body white, something I already had in my arsenal of paint, and it turned out great. I lined the little drawer with just some liner I already had and threw in an old handle I also already had, and the total cost for this was like $5. And then I turned around and sold it for $50. So not too shabby for just a couple hours work. I was gifted this sweet little dresser from a dear friend of mine, and so the purchase price was absolutely nothing. And I got to spend quality time with my friends, so that's always a great start. This had been in her parents' barn for several years, and they were just ready to let it go. This project I did in the middle of winter, and so I just stripped the paint down, and for ease of cleanup, and so I didn't have to go out in the rain and snow, I used spray paint and sprayed the body and stained the drawers, and it was good to go. This deep green color with the color of the stained drawers just turned out so pretty. Around here in the winter, sales do tend to take a little dip, and so this sat on the market for about 2 months. I started by asking $250 for it, and it ended up selling for $175. I'm so thankful for the privilege I have to be able to do furniture rehabilitation. It's not the easiest bonus gig, that's for sure, but it definitely does allow for some perks. Please ask any questions down in the comment section and give this video a like and a subscribe if you liked what you saw. See you next time.